Hello and welcome to the shack. From here we're going to commentate some of this old footage of us sailing through storms, and we'll talk about the lessons learned and share a little bit of some inside information.
I gotta get a life jacket on.
Leave on schedule or reschedule. Now, our buddy boat was not ready at 8 a.m. when we planned to leave, and we ended up leaving 5 hours later. So that actually put us behind the weather window that we thought was optimal, and we eventually paid the price for that.
Going to Cuba, baby. Got some good wind.
So you just pulled the anchor?
About 24 hours. Pulling 2 anchors up. Meeting Blackbird.
Yeah, let's go, Blackbird. You guys better be ready. And we're off to Cuba. There is the beautiful Blackbird. We'll meet you guys out there. We'll slow it down. Let's go! Let's go! We're going to avoid tide opposing the wind. That was a rough way to start our sail to Cuba. Dinghy, please stay with us. Don't tow the dinghy. Yes. Now we actually did not lose our dinghy on the first sail, but it flipped upside down and it was pretty much annihilated. Eventually, we had to lay it to rest. And we towed the dinghy on the second time we got hit by a storm, and we lost that dinghy during the night. Got our teaks, all 3 of them. We did lose a very nice spotlight, however, and some other things.
What other things?
A dinghy.
Oh, what other things?
So we needed to stay the course and enter the current where we planned on entering the current. The storm was coming from the west, and so we panicked a little and we went south a little bit early, entering the Gulf Stream, and that eventually put us way behind our schedule because we were fighting the current all the way to Cuba.
A bunch of yahoos in the deep blue. Just out here floating around in the middle of nowhere in a storm. We're on our way to Cuba. The wind is coming from the direction we're trying to go, so we're not able to go in the correct direction. We're chasing, or not chasing, we are running away from a storm because the forecast was wrong once again. We're also in 10-foot swells. Water's crashing over the boat like crazy. I turned it on to see the wind direction. Yeah. And Tony and Joel are getting seasick. It's getting dicey. But we're gonna get in though. Eventually. It was supposed to take about probably 20 hours, 24 hours, and probably looking more like 30 plus. So wish us luck, folks.
Sail through storms, not away from them. If we had stayed the course, I know it's a little scary, you see the lightning and everything, but if it's coming at you and you really have nowhere to go, your best course is to just nose right into that storm and sail right through it. That's the quickest way to get out. We tried to maybe outrun it or get below it and got caught in it, and it eventually just took us with it, and so we were in it for a lot longer than needed to be. Okay, so we need to acquire and learn how to use a storm anchor, which is basically like a big sail that's attached to lines, and you throw it overboard, attach it to the bow of your boat. It turns you into the wind, and you slowly drift, but you stay nose into the wind and the waves, and you can ride out a storm and go down below, not worry about sails or anything, just pull everything down. We definitely need to do that. Would have been a great option to have. Okay, we need to pull the mainsail taut when reefing. The first sail to Cuba, we didn't completely have it taut, and there was a little crease in the middle. When we got hit by the wind, it just blew a hole right through the middle of the mainsail. Here's an interesting one, is to let the jib sheet go when you're laid over. First time we got hit by a storm, I was holding onto the jib sheet and we were laid over. There was no way to get the sail in. I couldn't really do anything but hang on. In that situation, I should have let go of the sheet and let the jib flap. It might have ripped, but it would have at least let the boat come up a little bit. And in the second storm, I actually had the opportunity to do that. And I actually let it go and let it flap and was able to pull it in, albeit a little bit messy, was able to get the jib in that way. It took me a while to learn that I needed to eat a decent meal before sailing. And I would always try to not eat, thinking that I didn't want to have anything to throw up, but that would start me off on a bad foot. And I only got sicker and couldn't hold anything down. So when I started eating right before sailing, I did a lot better.
This is living the dream.
Okay, when we were sailing to the Dominican Republic, we had 3 options and none of them were really good. One of them was terrible, which was stay where we were at. The wind was shifting and it was picking up. We were going to be unprotected at our tiny little anchorage. So the other option was to go back to Turks and Caicos, and we were already low on funds and had already been drained quite a bit. Plus, there was no guarantee that another weather window would come because we were late in the season. So the next option was to just go, even though we knew the weather was less than favorable. We had to pick one of those 3, so we decided to go for it, and it did make a difference that Holly, on another adventure, as well as Colorado, was going with us. So that gave us a little bit of confidence that at least we'd have somebody to call, you know, if things got hairy out there.
It's about 10 a.m. Thursday, May 3rd. Does that sound right?
Yeah, May 2nd or 3rd.
May 2nd or 3rd, something like that. We are moments away from pulling anchor here at Big Sand Key. We're gonna head out for Luperon with another adventure right over there. And Colorado in the back, if you can see that. So, wish us luck. Here we go.
Okay, so if in the future, if the jib begins to luff and we're still holding the course, I'm gonna pull the jib in immediately, because that's what happened, is the jib started luffing, which just means it's not holding wind. So usually that means you turned a little bit too far into the wind. But in this case, we were still holding our course, but it was luffing, and then all of a sudden the wind came from the other direction and laid the boat over. So during that luffage, it would have been nice to get the jib in. Definitely need to stop attaching ourselves to the lifelines. That is not a good way to go about it. Gotta change that. Okay, it's super important to secure the lower leading edge of the mainsail. I did not do that, and it caused our entire track to get ripped off of the mast. And that track is what holds the mainsail to the mast, and it's riveted on, and it took all the pressure and blew the hole out of the bottom there. So make sure to secure that lower leading edge to the boom. Woo! Glad we made it through those storms alive. Glad we made it out the other side. Thank you for watching. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. We're gonna be back at the boat soon, and things are gonna get dicey.
These are the tales of Moab. Once on a boat, baby.